Jim Banks, U.S. must stop giving taxpayer-funded unemployment benefits to Antifa thugs. I agree. If you're going to be leeching money off of the taxpayer, and then you're going to be going out rioting and trying to burn the system that's keeping you alive down, you need to be cut off. And before anyone says, like, oh, but if we cut these people off, they're just going to get desperate and resort to violence. Oh, wait, like they're already doing? Nothing's going to fucking change. Cut these parasites off. Let them starve. Representative Jim Banks, Republican, Indiana, says American taxpayers should not be paying to provide federal unemployment benefits to Antifa thugs and those associated with burn, loot, murder who've started riots across the United States. Yeah, how about no more unemployment benefits to Antifa and burn, loot, murder until the damage they cause has been paid for? Let's cover the costs of the damage from their unemployment benefits. That's perfect. Last week, Breitbart News reported Banks' newly filed legislation, the Support Peaceful Protest Act, which would make convicted rioters ineligible for federal unemployment benefits and force rioters to pay police officers for law enforcement they provided during the riots. Yup, make them foot the bill for the increased police enforcement during the riots, too. Fucking brilliant. You want to know what a peaceful protest looks like? Look at all the pro-Trump rallies. Those don't get violent until burn, loot, murder, and Antifa shows up and starts the violence. It's funny that everywhere they go, they bring violence with them, but it's always someone else's fault, right? Of course. You may be the one common denominator, but it's always the other side's fault. Banks explained his plan in an exclusive interview with SiriusXM Patriots Breitbart News Saturday, saying the policy would have an immediate impact in terms of ending the months-long rioting. I kind of disagree. So on the one hand, it would make things a little bit different, a little bit more difficult for their moms now that they're going to have to, their parents are going to have to foot more of the bill for these parasites. But on the other hand, what if a certain Hungarian billionaire were to just pay them to go riot? Because these people are professional activists. They get paid money to be bussed from city to city just to stir shit up. You're not going to be able to end that by cutting their unemployment benefits. But I still agree with the idea, because at the very least, after the rioting is done, there will be consequences for the rioters. It's occurred to me over the last few weeks that it's not just George Soros and left-wing groups like Burn, Loot, Murder that are funding many of these riots and mob protests that are turning violent in the streets of America's cities. But if you think about it, you and I are also funding it in a way. Now, this I agree with. See, he was way ahead of me. He already considered Soros. These rioters, the Antifa thugs that are showing up and causing so much destruction, are also getting $600 a week through unemployment benefits through the CARES Act and the federal benefits that have come through the beer virus aid. I want to put a stop to it. If they're unemployed and they show up on a daily basis and they're traveling all over America, especially many of them coming to Washington, D.C., the last thing they deserve is our tax dollars going into their pockets to pay the costs of these professional protesters and rioters. Thank you. It's about fucking time someone finally said it. I am sick and fucking tired of footing the bill for the parasites that are burning my city down. Cut them off and let them starve, and causing this kind of ruin and destruction in places like Washington. So it's one big component of my bill. There are videos online of rioters holding up traffic jams. I think these rioters should have to pay the cost of law enforcement to have to come out and deal with situations like this. Yeah? You realize if you have a peaceful protest, you don't have to deal with that, right? Why should hardworking taxpayers in my district have to pay whenever these thugs shut down the streets in places like Washington, Banks said. They should be on the hook to pay for it too. So what was the idea I just pitched? Cut all of their benefits until the damage they caused has been paid for. Then they can get their benefits back. That'll make them think twice before going out and rioting again. As Banks filed the legislation, a number of attendees from President Trump's Republican National Convention were accosted by Antifa and Burn, Loot, Murder rioters outside of the White House. Senator Rand Paul and State Representative Vernon James were both accosted, along with others. Breitbart News was on the ground when the instances occurred. Yeah, it's just a bunch of peaceful rioters. Over the weekend, a Trump supporter was shot and killed in Portland, Oregon, where riots have been ongoing for more than 3 months. Antifa is getting left-wing funding from some source. They're not just getting that, they're also getting traditional unemployment benefits, Banks said. So if we took away those sources of federal tax dollars that are going into their pockets, I think it would put a lot of these guys in a situation where they would think twice about their violent activities in places like Washington, D.C. This is what needs to happen. We need to cut their fucking funding, man. If the government lacks the balls to stop the Soros money from coming in, at least stop the unemployment benefits. And then when their moms realize they're having to foot more of the bill to keep supporting these parasites, maybe things will change sooner rather than later. Oh man, I am so excited to tell you guys right now that finally, after about a year of build-up and shilling, we have launched Blade Devil on Indiegogo, and so far it is doing so well thanks to awesome people like you. If you haven't backed it yet, then please check the links in the description and check out Blade Devil on Indiegogo. You will not be disappointed. Looking forward to seeing you there.